In the year 3221, the Velcarin Empire ruled the stars with cold precision and unshakable pride, stretching across hundreds of star systems in the Orion Arm. Their empire was built on centuries of conquest, fear, and advanced technology. They believed no species could rival their power, and no mystery could challenge their science. But on an otherwise ordinary day, something unexpected happened near the distant colony of Orsava Prima Remote, quiet planet that served as a fuel outpost, an agricultural supplier for outer sector fleets. While warning, a massive and completely unfamiliar ship emerged from the void just beyond the colony's orbit. It was unlike anything the Velcarin had ever seen. The ship was enormous, shaped like a crescent blade, made of a dark matte material that seemed to drink in the surrounding starlight. It hovered silently, without signal or sound, and did not respond to any communication. Velcarin sensors tried to scan it, but the data returned blank, as if the ship absorbed or redirected every attempt to learn about it. A high-level watch. Alert was issued. Nearby patrol ships began to move toward the unknown vessel, but before they could even close the distance, the strange ship simply vanished. No flash, no distortion, just gone. The Velcarin High Command dismissed it as a sensor malfunction or a test by a rogue technology faction, though their analysts whispered concerns behind closed doors. What puzzled them more was that just hours after the sighting, all communication from Orsava Prime stopped completely. Not a single transmission, not even emergency signals. Thinking it was a power grid failure or possible sabotage, the Empire sent a standard scout vessel to investigate. The crew, trained for crisis response, approached the coordinates of the planet. But what they found was something beyond explanation. The planet was no longer there, where Orsava Prime should have been. There was only empty space. No debris, no explosion signature, no gravitational distortion. Just clean, silent emptiness, as if the world had never existed. The ship's crew ran their scans multiple times, rechecked star maps, verified coordinates, but everything matched. There had been a planet there. No, there wasn't. Even the natural dust trails from Orsavas to moons were gone. The pilot, a veteran of dozens of war campaigns, went pale and speechless. One of the science officers muttered that perhaps the planet had been moved, but no known species or technology in the galaxy could do such a thing, not without leaving behind massive energy readings or spatial echoes. The data was sent back to Central Command, and the Velcarin Empire went into quiet lockdown. Public broadcasts mentioned a meteor event. Military channels received silent directives to remain alert. Secret meetings were held in underground bunkers. But deep in the minds of the Velcarin leadership, a single, unsettling thought echoed louder than any order. Something had arrived in their space, and it had power greater than their own. And now it had vanished, just like the planet had appeared. Above, after the sudden disappearance of Orsava Prime, fear spread like wildfire through the vast reaches of the Velcarin Empire. Rumors flew between distant star systems, blaming everything from secret rival factions to hidden saboteurs within their own ranks. But no one claimed responsibility for the missing colony or the strange ship seen hovering over it. Both cautious and desperate. The Empire's leaders assembled a small but elite group of xeno-intelligence officers to uncover the truth behind these unsettling events. Leading the team was Commander Yorick Drawl, a man known for his sharp mind and skeptical nature, unwilling to accept myths or half-truths without solid evidence. With a crew trained in deep space reconnaissance and interstellar archaeology, Yorick's mission was clear: investigate the mystery of Orsava Prime and the strange ship that had vanished as suddenly as it appeared. The team began their work by delving into countless databases, scouring through scattered pieces of information left behind by explorers, spies, and scientists across the Empire. Months of careful study brought them to a long-forgotten and heavily sealed file hidden deep in the archives and locked away for over 1,000 years. This file, marked with a warning label and the cryptic title Species HOM. It's a first contact log that no official Velcarin had been allowed to see for centuries. Opening it revealed a story that challenged everything the Empire believed about itself and the galaxy. The log told of an ancient encounter with a species that originated from a small blue planet called Earth, located in a distant part of the galaxy. The humans, as they were called, had once been prisoners of history, primitive but fiercely determined. The Empire had tried to conquer them, using their overwhelming military strength and advanced technology to break the human spirit. Yet the humans never fully submitted. Instead, they chose to vanish into the unknown, retreating beyond the borders of all known space, taking with them secrets and technologies that even the Valkyrin could not comprehend. Over time, the humans became little more than a myth, a cautionary tale whispered in secret. But this file revealed the truth. Humanity had survived and evolved far beyond the expectations of any species. Their disappearance was not a defeat, but a deliberate choice, a silent exile to prepare for a future that was yet to come. As Yorick and his team studied the holographic records, they were struck by the tone of the messages, transmitted in broken Terran dialect but unmistakably urgent. The final entries of the log held a chilling warning, a message left by the humans for anyone who might find it. The words, though garbled and distorted by time, echoed clearly through the translation software. When we return, it won't be. With ambassadors, it will be with judgment. This ominous statement left the Valkyrin officers unsettled, suggested that the humans' return would not be peaceful or negotiable. There was a weight of reckoning, implied a reckoning for past wrongs, for centuries of domination and cruelty. As Commander Droll looked around at his crew, he could see the same mixture of awe and fear reflected in their eyes. For the first time in centuries, the Empire faced a threat that was not just technological or military, but moral and ancient. The mysterious ship at Orsava Prime was only the beginning, a warning sign of something greater moving in the shadows of the galaxy. Yet no one knew when or how the humans would return, only that when they did, the galaxy would never be the same. Despite his skepticism, Yorick could not ignore the growing sense that the Empire had been living on borrowed time. Protected by arrogance and ignorance, the echoes of the past were stirring. The silence that followed the disappearance of Orsava Prime was not empty. It was waiting. As the team prepared to report their findings, the question hung heavily in the air. Were they ready to face the judgment that had been promised so long ago? The answer was unknown. But one thing was clear. Something strange and powerful was waking from the depths of space, and the Empire's era of dominance might soon come to an end. The quiet before the storm shattered when the strange ship reappeared. This time, closer to a heavily guarded Valkyrin fleet outpost known as Valkyr Station, strategic hub controlling key jump gates between star systems. No warning came, no distress signals or messages, just a sudden and overwhelming. It's a surge of electromagnetic pulses that disabled every single vessel in the fleet with precise and deliberate efficiency. The once proud warships became lifeless, husks drifting in space, their systems shut down as if cut off from power by an invisible hand. Alongside the EMP assault, a sinister digital virus spread through the AI networks of the Valkyrin ships, corrupting their control systems, scrambling communications, and erasing data. The virus was unlike any computer attack the Empire had ever seen, fast, adaptive, and surgical, leaving no chance for countermeasures. The ships were rendered useless, but remarkably, no lives were lost. No explosions rocked the station, only an eerie stillness as the outpost's defenses went dark. This was the unmistakable sign of the humans' return, yet they were no longer the people remembered in dusty ancient logs or forgotten stories. The Terran vessels that emerged from the shadows were unlike anything the galaxy had witnessed before. Sleek and biomechanical, these ships blended organic curves with advanced technology that whispered quantum secrets. They moved silently, slipping through space with grace and speed, seemingly unaffected by gravity or light. Their soldiers, clad in armor that shimmered with shifting patterns, moved like shadows, invisible until striking with precision and disappearing again before a response could be made. There were no demands broadcast across the void, no calls for negotiation or surrender. Instead, every attack was swift, focused on disabling critical systems rather than causing destruction or loss of life. Targets were chosen carefully. Weapon, Platforms were neutralized, communications arrays silenced, but civilian areas and innocent lives remained untouched. From the human perspective, the story was very different. On board the Terran flagship Vanguard, Admiral Rissa Cade stood watch over the battle unfolding in Velcarin space. Rissa's childhood memories were marked by tragedy and loss. Once a refugee fleeing Earth's collapse, she grew up in the stars, driven by a fierce determination to prevent the horrors that had consumed her home from happening elsewhere. She did not crave conquest or revenge. Her mission was clear: to stop empires like the Velcarin from spreading fear and oppression across the galaxy again. For decades, the humans had remained hidden, watching the galaxy tear itself apart with endless wars and power struggles. They learned patience, strength, and the importance of balance. Now, with technology and tactics far beyond any known species, they moved to act swiftly and decisively. The Velcarin were not just targets because they were powerful. They were the worst offenders of freedom, ruling through terror and ruthless domination. As the Terran Vanguard's forces disabled Velcarin outposts one by one, Rissa's mind stayed sharp and calm, aware that the humans must not become what they fought against. They disabled without destruction, judged without cruelty. However, in the midst of this silent but brutal campaign, Commander Yorick Drall, once a skeptic and now caught in the unfolding storm, was captured during a skirmish near a disabled outpost. Expecting harsh interrogation or worse, he was instead brought aboard a Terran ship under heavy guard. To his surprise, Yorick was not treated as an enemy but as a witness. In a secure chamber, he was shown recorded footage of Velcarin war crimes acts, of cruelty and conquest erased from public records and hidden even from most Velcarin citizens. Scenes of massacres on peaceful planets, forced labor camps, and scientific experiments on unwilling subjects played out before his eyes. The humans had kept careful evidence, a record of the Empire's darkest deeds. This was not propaganda or rumor, it was undeniable truth. For the first time, Yorick understood the full scale of the Empire's tyranny and why humanity had returned not to destroy, but to deliver justice long delayed. The warning from the ancient log echoed in his mind again. This was judgment, not conquest. As he watched, the tension within him grew. The humans did not speak of forgiveness, and their patience had clearly ended. The galaxy stood at a turning point, and the Velcarin Empire, with all its power and pride, faced a force born from the ashes of Earth's fall, a force determined to rewrite the future of sentient life. Yorick knew that his world would never be the same, and the question remained whether his people could face the reckoning coming from beyond the stars. The Velcarin Empire, once unshakable and proud, began to crumble under the quiet but unstoppable force of humanity's return. Planets fell one after another, yet strangely, not a single human life was lost in these campaigns. The humans moved with a purpose and precision that left the Velcarin fleets baffled and afraid. No indiscriminate attacks, no destruction of entire cities or worlds, just calm. Surgical strikes that disabled key military and communication facilities, making resistance impossible without bloodshed. Panic spread swiftly through the Empire's ruling class as whispers of defections grew louder. Some imperial governors, seeing the futility of resistance and fearing annihilation, began to secretly switch their loyalty to the humans or simply abandon their posts. Others gathered in shadowed halls to blame the Empress herself for provoking an ancient enemy whose power they had long forgotten. The cracks in the Empire's foundation deepened as civil war quietly brewed among the Velcarins' own ranks. Commander Yorick Drall, having witnessed the overwhelming strength and strange justice of the humans, was deeply shaken. He escaped captivity in a daring move and took to the airwaves, risking everything to broadcast the truth to billions under imperial control. His message was clear. The humans were not invaders bent on conquest, but liberators armed with a terrifying, an absolute sense of justice. As his word spread, more and more citizens began to question their loyalty to the Empire and the Empress who had led them into this crisis. People whispered about hope, freedom, and a future beyond tyranny. Meanwhile, the humans employed tactics that were beyond anything the Velcarin military had encountered. Temporal jamming made enemy weapons misfire or freeze in place. Gravity. Displacement weapons could rip ships apart by twisting space itself. Their arms included molecular restructuring devices that could neutralize a target without explosion, effectively turning warships into harmless drifting debris. These were not tools of conquest, but of neutralization, designed to stop conflict. Swiftly, without unnecessary damage, humans showed restraint, power, and a commitment to ending violence rather than escalating it. And this approach only deepened the confusion and fear within the Empire's leaders. In a last desperate gamble, the Velcaran Empress ordered the activation of the Starfire Protocol, a terrifying ancient weapon designed to incinerate entire star systems in a fiery blaze. Her goal was to destroy the Terran Vanguard's fleet in one devastating strike, regardless of how many innocent lives would be lost in the process. This decision marked the Empire's final stand, a moment when survival was valued above all else, even at the cost of planetary annihilation. Yet, just as the weapon was about to fire and the countdown reached 0, the impossible happened. The entire Starfire array vanished. The massive construct, built over centuries and guarded by the Empire's best defenses, was gone without a trace. In its place, a strange ship appeared inside the orbital defense ring of the Imperial capital. The very heart of the Velcaran Empire was now shadowed by the familiar dark silhouette that had appeared near Arsava Prime so long ago. This sudden appearance sent shockwaves through the Empire's command centers and citizens alike. The silence that followed was heavy with tension, as all waited to see what this final, mysterious visitor would do next. The Empress's advisors scrambled for answers, but the dread was clear. This was not an attack in the usual sense, but a statement, a symbol that the Empire's time was over. The presence of the ship signaled that judgment had come, and no weapon, no matter how powerful, could stand against it. As the Velcaran watched from their high towers and command ships, they realized the galaxy's future was about to be rewritten, and their empire might be swept away like dust in a cosmic wind. The fall of the Velcaran Empire's capital was as swift as it was silent, a breathtaking moment that stunned all who witnessed it. Without firing a single shot or triggering alarms, the Terran forces entered the heart of the Imperial system, their ships gliding through the orbital defenses as if they were not there. The vast fleets of Velcaran warriors, once ready to defend their Empress with deadly force, found themselves powerless against technology and tactics beyond their comprehension. The humans broadcast a single message across every channel in the galaxy, a haunting and firm reminder of the past and a warning for the future. We remember the fire. We remember Earth. You ruled with fear. We return with resolve. Those words echoed in the minds of billions, stirring memories long buried and fears long ignored. Within days, the mighty Velcaran Empire collapsed. Imperial governors surrendered, some even before the human forces arrived, choosing survival over endless war. Across countless worlds, oppressed peoples rose in rebellion, inspired by the humans' swift and almost merciful approach. The collapse was not a chaotic destruction, but a dismantling of tyranny, planet by planet, system by system. Yet humanity did not claim the empire for themselves. Instead of imposing a new regime or seizing power, they left behind tools to enable self-governance, offering resources and technology to rebuild infrastructure and restore order. They became architects of freedom, helping worlds to heal rather than conquer them. And then, as suddenly as they had appeared, they vanished. No grand farewell, no lingering occupation, just silence where once their shadow had loomed large. The galaxy was left to chart its own course, free from fear, but forever changed by the arrival of the Terran Vanguard. Years later, Yorick Drawl, once a commander in the Velcaran military and now an ambassador for the free coalition of sentient worlds, reflected on the incredible journey that had reshaped the stars. In his memoir titled When the Ghosts Returned, he wrote of the terror, hope, and transformation that marked humanity's return. He closed the book with a line that carried the weight of truth and humility. They were not our enemies. They were our reckoning, and we never had a chance. These words captured the enduring lesson of the galaxy's darkest hour that sometimes justice arrives not to conquer or destroy, but to remind us of what we have lost and what we must never allow again. The story of the strange ship, the vanished planet, and the silent war that toppled an empire became legend, a warning to all who might believe that power could ever be absolute. For the galaxy had seen the ghosts of Earth return, and with them came a new dawn, one built on freedom, respect, and the unyielding promise that no one should ever rule through fear again.